What is up? We just finished watching 310, which lasted a very long time. Um, and Alexandre Pantoja defends the flyweight belt again. No surprises there. Overall, the card was okay. We're gonna go through some of the results and hopefully get to the one and only Dana White's comments on said fights. Who won what, performance bonuses, and all that fine, fun stuff with all of you good folks. Shout out to everybody in the chat early. Two Smelly Fingers, Kobe Wiggle, for some reason, Hank the Tank. What's up, man? And yeah, Kaya Sakura did not. I mean, he kind of looked lost in there, honestly. It kind of sucked because he throws a flying knee immediately, and you're like, "Whoa, sick." But eventually, you kind of get to see that Pantoja is like, he's the Terminator that we thought he was. A lot of people saying after this fight, like, "Oh, Pantoja's the real deal." It's like, yeah, no shit. You didn't know that? And actually, in hindsight now, it kind of looks strange that Kaya Sakura, like, with no UFC wins, gets this shot. Anyway. But yeah, he officially lands 30 strikes, Pantoja 33. 2.5 minutes of control time in that one sub attempt were all he needed to choke Kaya Sakura out. He goes for a tap, but ends up kind of going out cold at the same time. Technical submission. Good shit for Pantoja. I mean, really, the most pressing question is just like, what's next for him? Hindsight being 2020. Oh yeah, overall a great card. I don't know if it was great, but yeah, I mean it was fine. Delivered. Vintage Pantoja, yeah, for sure. Some of the other fights that were on this card was obviously Shavkat Rakhmonov defeating Ian Gary in a pretty close competitive fight. I mean, if Ian Gary didn't earn your respect as a fighter in this fight, I don't know what else he would have to do aside from just like knocking out Shavkat. And if you thought that he was gonna just get steamrolled in this fight, I also like, if you're surprised he did really well in this fight, I think that's you're casual. A lot of finishes, main card was met, only 2 good fights. Yeah, exactly. But also like you can't you have to weigh the quality of a UFC card, especially a pay-per-view, heavily on the pay-per-view portion. Just because the prelims were good, you can't be like, oh yeah, the card was good. It's like, I don't know. You gotta weigh it mostly on the main card. But yeah, Shavkat just, I mean, it's weird because like Ian Gary's stock goes up more than Shavkat's does in a win because his was already so high. So Shavkat, we kind of realize now like he's not the undefeatable like boogeyman Terminator of the division. I think Bilal beats him after watching that performance, and Ian Gary looked really good. Oh my gosh, a lot of the prelims were headline fight level fights. To be fair on this one, yeah, they were still prelims though. I did not have to pay for I didn't pay for any of the card, but they weren't the paid portion of the fights of the card. So, but yeah, shit, look at this. He actually landed more strikes total. Those leg kicks really added up, but almost 12 minutes of control time is wild. 2 for 10 on takedowns is kind of crazy too. Surogan versus Volkov. Guys, I'll be honest, I was kind of like half watching this one. It looked like a pretty close fight. Holy shit, 105 to 48. Oh my god, I have to go back and watch this one. What the fuck? 105 total strikes. But like this math. Wait, what? This math like doesn't even add up. 20, 39. Wait, what? Looks like he had a similar amount of strikes, but why does it say he had 105? What? That math ain't mathin'. Just put it that way. That math ain't mathin'. Yeah, I wasn't watching this one super close. It looked like a pretty back and forth fight. Bro, they robbed Volkov. Volkov clearly won. Two judges gave. I guess I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Clear round 2 and 3 for Volkov. I mean, it looked weird to me because, like, at one point, Cyril Gahn was like throwing up a leg lock attempt. I was like, what the fuck's going on? That's when I knew the fight was gonna be weird, but I don't know. Like, through my half watching, I was like, yeah, Cyril Gahn's winning this. But yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that. Bryce Mitchell defeats Kron Gracie in a pretty boring fight until the end where he just slammed him. Super sick. Good for him. Good for Bryce Mitchell. Kind of got a layup there and a comeback. Nate Landwehr versus Doo Ho Choi. I officially did pick Nate to win, and I thought he would get it done by knockout in the second round. But he gets absolutely steamrolled by Doo Ho Choi. Fight was never close or in question. Choi beat him on the feet, beat him with the boxing. Uppercuts were on point. Beat him in the kicks. Beat him in the grappling. And yeah, 4 for 5 at takedown, 7 minutes of control time. Dude, Doo Ho Choi, man. Wow. Well-rounded. And just, dude's going to be a problem in this division. So sick. To see Doo Ho Choi get the win. Like, because here's a guy who went on a really bad losing streak, comes back, knocks out a guy who's not super good in Bill Algeo. Okay, hold up. Hold on a second. We've got Dana White. Let's go. Yes, here we go. This will be fun. We have the man, Dana White, on the microphone. Let's get him. Let's get him over here. Get over here, you rascal, Dana. All right.
148. Gate was $5 million. We got 4 performance of the night bonuses. Kennedy Hooper, Luque, and Pantoja. They all won $50,000.
Kennedy Hooper.
What's up, buddy?
First of all, what was your take on Pantoja's call out? Like that, it seemed a little strange call out of Demetrius Johnson after.
You called out DJ?
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, he said
Me neither,
that
Dana.
I'm the GOAT, and if you want to prove you're still the GOAT, come fight me. Is that something you would entertain even?
I don't know. That's interesting. Listen, we you know how
Dana sees dollar signs. He's
the
interested.
drum about Demetrius Johnson a long time ago, and
I always defended DJ.
I don't know.
What was your take on his Pantoja's performance?
He looked
tonight?
incredible.
Did you feel like he went out there right off the bat and pressured Asakura, a guy that has a
what he always
reputation as
does,
a knockout
Kevin.
fighter, to try to take that aspect away from him?
Well, there's 2 sides to this story. You take a guy like Asakura who came in, in the UFC your first time. We talk about the jitters, all the things that happen. First time fighting in a cage, et cetera, et cetera. And he came in guns a-blazing, flying knee, like right out the gate. And then Pantoja, how he put the pressure back on him. Who in this room didn't want to see 3 more rounds of that? You know what I mean? It would have been amazing. It was a great fight. And Pantoja went out and dominated.
Yeah, and Pantoja has now beaten Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, and now this guy. So certainly he has starting to build that kind of resume up where now all of a sudden you got to talk about it as one of the great in the game. You get to 3 title defenses in the UFC. That's pretty significant, is it not?
I agree.
Where do you think he ranks in terms of the great flyweight champion you've had? Moreno had a great run. Davison was great. Obviously, we know about DJ. Where do you think Alexandre rates right now?
Well, I mean, to say, right here off the top of my head, I don't know. he's awesome. He looked incredible tonight, and I don't know.
What was your take on, I thought Ian Machado Gary was great in terms of his takedown defense and the way he fought, short notice fight. What was your take on that fight, and were you impressed by Shavkat?
Yeah, it's one of those fights. I'll give you an example too, like Landwehr versus Choi. On paper, they go in the middle of the octagon, just start slugging it out, and sometimes they don't play out the way you think. 15-0 versus 18-0. What that means, you have two really great fighters with a lot at stake. There's a title on the line, and you saw a lot of great things from both guys during that fight. It wasn't a knockdown, drag them out war, but I will tell you this: thank God it was 5 rounds. 5 rounds was the way to do that fight.
A couple other things I just wanted to ask you about. Number one, I was going to ask you this yesterday about: is this the best year in the company history? You had 5 of the top 10 gates in UFC history were this year. 299.
Of course, he's gonna say every year was the best year. I mean, even Nate, when he lost, he didn't take it as hard as you did.
In Edmonton, which apparently you
Crazy.
may break next week. Do you feel that makes this the greatest year in UFC history?
We say this every year. Every year we say this is the best year. How do we do better next year? I mean, this is literally what we say every year. How are you going to beat this year? We just keep doing it. I don't know. But yes. And guess what? Last year was the best year in UFC history. And the year before that was.
I won't give you a break.
What criteria do you judge that by? Is it just bottom line finances, or are there other?
It's everything. I mean, you take everything in. The sphere. Who saw that coming? Every year we something happens that we didn't see coming, right?
Hey, good shit, dude.
And
send a little money to me.
It goes to another level. Creatively, I think it goes to another level. And
that's actually wild. 8 fight parlay, not easy.
Talk about things like breaking records and et cetera, et cetera. I like to break records. Right now, when we talked about New York, we're 7 of the top 10. By the time we go there again this coming year, we'll be 8 of the top 10. And eventually in the next couple of years, we'll be 10 of the top 10. So think about that. When you think about that, Madison Square Garden, we weren't allowed to go into New York. The most famous arena in the world, all the big events that have been there.
It's only 7.
Within the next couple of years, the UFC will be 10 of the top 10 gates of all time at Madison Square Garden. And we broke most of the gates around the world, their records everywhere we go. So
we haven't had a chance to talk to you since the thing about Conor McGregor came down. Any reaction that you have since the conviction in the civil court and the penalties he faced?
What do you mean? What's my reaction?
Do you have any comment about what his?
If I had a comment, I would have put it out already.
What about his status with the UFC?
He hasn't been fighting here in I don't know how long.
But there's been, you've announced him at 303. There's been talk he's going to fight.
Right.
I mean, does that impact him in any way, or?
Well, if he does fight, it'll be sometime next year.
Okay. All right. And
no comment.
Finally, were
you saying no comment?
Merab for something yesterday. You seemed like you were upset about something that was going on at that press conference. Was there something with the heat between the guys that had you?
That I was pissed off?
Yeah. Were you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought the press conference was awesome.
Right.
I thought the heat between him and Umar was great. So I was not supposed to be in Los Angeles for this fight coming up, for this pay-per-view fight. I have to fly somewhere and do something that is really important, and I'm moving it. I'm going to Los Angeles. That's how pissed off I was. Yeah.
Dana, when you look at the complexion of tonight's card coming off of 309 with such a headliner, the depth as far as quality or quantity, I think you had both tonight. Can you just talk about it up and down with the matches as far as you come off of a card with John Jones? This one, it seems like from the preliminary to the co-mains to the main card, it seemed like it was action packed from top to bottom, where you didn't need the big headliner.
That's the
I agree.
question to ask him.
I love the head. Listen, this might be one of those fights that you don't think is a big headliner. Kevin's over there talking about is this guy, one of the greats of all time. He fought another guy who was a champion in another organization that comes over from Japan. When you think about what that fight meant, had Kai won tonight, you know how big that would have been in Japan, and we'd be talking, even with the performance he had tonight, we're talking about possibly going and doing a fight in Japan now. So I wouldn't say that there wasn't, you know, whether you call it a big headliner, not every card is Sean Jones, but to say that Pantoja isn't a, you know, he's asking me right now if he's the best ever.
Dana, front right here. We had a couple losses for some veterans, Clay Guida, Chris Weidman, Anthony Smith. You know, you've made it known that you thought Chris should have hung it up a couple fights ago. Anthony, you know, couldn't really hold in the tears when he was walking out, and then Clay is, I think, 40-something. What do you do with those?
Why are you booking?
They all retired tonight.
Yeah. Would you? So you won't offer them any more fights or anything?
What is up, Paradox?
They should
Good to see you.
And then what did you make of the Crone Bryce Mitchell fight? Because in Crone's last fight, you were pretty critical of him. You said it was limited.
Kai versus Kai?
It was the biggest mistake to kind of come in with one tool.
Hey,
Bryce
good for you,
knocked
man.
Cold with an elbow.
Glad to hear
on the
that.
top. So just what did you make of Crone's
Love to hear when
performance
people are
and
making
his
money.
future with the company?
So wait a minute.
Hold on, Dana White looks confused.
What's your question? So you're asking me, you're saying Crone looked really limited last time he fought, and he looked limited tonight. What's your opinion on?
I didn't think he was limited tonight.
No, what did you think?
I thought he had a better game plan than the fight he had against Charles Jourdain.
Well, we're getting there.
Because Bryce Mitchell's just.
We're getting there. Where's the fellow who does
Okay.
the Dusty Road
So
impression?
you're like, what do you think about Weidman, this guy, and that guy tonight?
He got so mad
What do you
tonight.
think about
I don't
Crone
think he'll
today?
be back till
You're-
next week.
Yeah. No, I don't like the
tomorrow.
way you're leading me down this road. I know what you're doing. You know the answer to the question, but you
Oh,
just want me to
gosh.
say it or something.
Dana's all
You're
mad.
saying Crone looked limited. What do you think? Do you have any other questions you want to ask me? Anything fucking positive, or you want me to shit on everybody on the card tonight?
I was gonna ask. My last one was gonna about Movzar. What you thought of his performance in there?
About who?
Movzar, he won against
Who? Looked great. Congrats to him.
Dana,
Yeah.
how did you score the Cyril Gane Volkov fight?
I thought Volkov won the fight.
God,
You
Hank
know,
just
look, I'm not even trying to shit on
her
her.
post
She's
show
an Adelaide
skate
Bird,
show.
with him,
Like
right?
you've been
She's
on
made me
before.
feel
You're
like-
just a
My point really is these
you had a hard
judges
time today,
have
man.
shown bad decisions time and time again. Is there anything we can do with the commission to say like, hey, can they be re-educated if not move?
So here's what happened after that fight. You heard the boos. I went over to Volkov. I apologized to him. I thought he won the fight.
Ooh,
And then
even Dana said
the
he
head
thought
of
he
the
won.
commission came over and said, listen, we feel like that second round was really close and, you know, could have gone either way. And both guys got rocked. We thought that, you know, we thought that, what did they think? That I can't remember which one they thought had the worst of it in the second round. But, you know, they were making the argument on why the fight was judged the way it was.
That's a really
I had a
weird
problem with the
thing
battle
for him
fight,
to
too.
even say.
Do you agree with their argument when you heard them out, or do you still maintain that you think Volkov should have probably got the decision?
It doesn't fucking matter what I think. It really doesn't, because at the end of the day, they decide who wins and loses, not us.
Yeah,
there was an instant
I
with
know.
Merab and a
I know,
fan
I was
tonight.
there.
That sort of that stuff happens, especially with
Fucking
Merab,
A,
to be
man.
honest. But I was more curious about your opinion on his mindset this week, right?
I'll deal with you later.
Stuff, had a lot of stuff going after Umar yesterday. The press conference, he was freaking out a lot. What do you make of his mindset towards his fight with Umar right now?
Yeah, it's actually a great question. I mean, listen, it's already Merab's that guy. He's that guy. This isn't his first altercation. I don't know if you guys noticed at the press conference yesterday too. To the right, somebody yelled something. He's in the middle of the conversation. He looked like he's trying to see who said that. Like what? You're going to run over there and you're going to fight this guy too? It's just it's the way he is. He's built that way. And I don't know if you saw, but he wasn't sitting in the regular fighter section. We had to move him over. I had to move the other two guys over at our
Rob
table.
built different.
It's, you know,
All right,
we
Dana.
try to diffuse this stuff before
Piss me off.
it happens. And tonight we had a good game plan. I didn't think he'd get into a fight walking out with Aljamain, but
Do you think
Got into a
he's
fight
kind
with
of
somebody?
intimidated by this Umar fight, though, right? He seems to really not want this fight, or doesn't feel like Umar deserves it. Do you think there's some mind games going on here, or do you think Umar might be in his head? Or something?
listen, I don't think that any of these guys are afraid of anybody. I'm sure there's certain guys they'd rather wait to fight, and you know they all have their reasons or whatever. But to say that Merab's fighting people in the fucking stands, okay? Merab would get in a fight
You had a
in the
fight with
middle
a
of
fan?
the fighter section. That's why we moved him over to the left. So I wouldn't say that any of these guys
Dennis
are afraid of
Bazooka punched
anybody or
somebody?
any fight. But you know, fighters are a paranoid bunch.
What?
You know, there's always some conspiracy against them, whether it's us or other people, or we make fights that people
Right.
want to see. They win or lose the fights on their own. but they are conspiracy theory. They always think that somebody is against them, and maybe that's what they need to do to have that mental to go out and do
theorists.
Speaking of conspiracy theorists, did you tell Bryce Mitchell fuck seatbelts after his fight?
Yeah. He said, I love you. This is the only organization that lets us speak our mind and be who we are and everything else. And I said, fuck seatbelts, buddy.
Last one from me. Kevin sort of went through the list of guys that Pantoja has beaten in this division.
Mhm.
Considering he's beaten a lot of them, do you think
Unhinged like a certain someone.
One guy
That's
has
part
to
of
beat
this channel.
twice, or-
I don't know. We'll see.
Boring because Crone made it
Yep.
boring.
Go ahead, this guy, go ahead.
lamer.
I was going to say,
Version of
that's
Ryan
not the
Hall.
First
Wow.
time that's happened with Marab. Is there anything you guys do or can do to prevent that? Are there any?
Oh my God, who cares? Talk
He's
about
my
the
mini
fight.
Strickland without the mouth. What do? Let him buy the pay-per-view, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
What?
You can't keep fighting with fucking fans. It's going to cost you a lot. You can do it. It's going to cost you a lot of money, right? And, I don't know. Listen, man, I say it all the time. We're in the fucking fight business.
Yeah. Dana
This happens.
slaps his wife and
We
nothing
got to deal with
happens
it.
him.
Tonight we tried. I took Islam. We took Islam and we took, Poirier. Not Poirier. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. I
No,
know,
we
but you do. Took them out, put them at the table, moved Marab over to the other side, had Umar and his crew over in the middle, and we still had problems. We still couldn't,
I would buy the pay-per-view if the fighters fought the
we do our
fans.
best. We got.
Like
I didn't even know Nate
fan
Diaz
after
was
the
coming
other.
yesterday through a water bottle.
Why wasn't Nate
Islam, I don't
Diaz
know why.
even there? Does anyone?
But
Can
listen,
anyone answer that
If
for
you
me?
guys knew fucking this much of what goes on behind the scenes.
No, I think he sent you $5
wonder why
because
we
you're
do this
holding
for
it
a
over
living.
his head.
Dana back here.
Yeah.
Dana, originally Tatiana Suarez was supposed to be on the card against Virna Jandiroba. You guys announced Strickland Duplessis 2, Zhang Wei Li, Tatiana. Was the reason she was pulled from the card because you guys wanted her for the title fight next February?
I have no idea. Does it matter?
What?
No, I think it's a
Okay.
great fight. I'm ready
Thank you,
for it
sir. We
already.
appreciate it.
Next one. You've talked a lot about being critical. Los Angeles getting back to where it was and being one of those markets. Obviously, going to LA. Just what made now the time to finally
Mike
bring
Milbury
the UFC back to
fought
Los
fans in
Angeles
NHL.
specifically instead of Anaheim?
The Intuit Dome.
That's a very new venue. Do you guys have any plans to use any of the new just features that arena has ahead of the fight?
We'll lose none of them. No.
And then finally, Cosm in Los Angeles nearby experienced it. It's almost as good as the Sphere. If you have a great seat, can you just talk about that partnership in LA, because that's quite the venue if you've never seen fights over there.
Great question. Yes, it's if you have not seen any sporting event, not just the UFC at Cosm, it is a very cool experience. If you're not going to the event live and you're not having a bunch of people over your house, it is a very, very cool way to watch any sporting event. It's fascinating.
Thank you.
Dana?
Yep.
Dana?
Yep. Go ahead. Middle guy right here. Yeah.
Dana, thank you so much for announcing the
Thank you, brother.
in Los Angeles.
What? What did he
I
say?
think it's gonna be one of the biggest events for the last couple of years. I wanted to ask, did you ever plan to make that tournament in Saudi Arabia? Because Islam mostly
Tournament?
fights there, a couple Dagestani fights in the card. Did you ever think about making that fight over there, or why you specifically chose Los Angeles? Because of Armenia fans, or like?
Well, a lot of things have to line up in timing, and we were going to Los Angeles, and you start looking at what are the best fights to make.
I'm tired.
It doesn't suck throwing an Armenian on a card, and the list goes on and on. It was the perfect card for LA. Like I just told the other guy, the Intuit Dome is badass. We're excited to go into that venue.
Badass.
I think that those are the type of venues you're going to start seeing being built with all this technology and cool shit to do.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah.
Dan.
Go ahead.
How close was Hamzat to getting the title shot against
All right, does anyone care anymore?
DDP in Australia?
How close was it?
Thank you, Dana. To
Yeah, UFC FN and Korea. Can you tell me what you think about the two
when the
Chui?
UFC hold the game at the Korea was 2019. Do
Yeah,
you
I
have
cannot
any plan to head another game at the
Oh,
Korea?
deep?
He's asking me if we're going back to Korea. So I was supposed to go to Korea this week for looking for a fight for the Korean Zombie show. And then some unrest going on over there. So our global security said we shouldn't go there right now, and we're figuring out another way to do this.
Oh, that's right.
With
This is the fucking
for his
coup.
show. Weekend. But the answer, if we don't end up there with a fight, I am going to Korea in 2025 to do another show with Koreans
probably like.
I mean,
Hard for him
do you
not
have
to
any
go.
plan for
we will eventually get back to
Do
Korea.
you have a friend?
Yes, ma'am.
in the back. So you had Power Slap this week. And
Power
in
Slap.
the Fountain Blue. That
Can you
Matt
tell me
Ryan
about
is
Power
so
Slap,
much better
Dana?
from the
Because
last
I
time
don't
that you were
know.
there. You have the card coming up in Saudi. How important is that opportunity to grow Power Slap, and what do you
And what can
seeing as a different?
you tell me about Power Slap?
How Power Slap has grown from the early days that UFC had to go through.
We just had this conversation with Forbes today.
I don't know
And
why
yes,
we do that.
when you look at
Live weigh-in.
Power Slap, you can't go back in the future.
I don't
ever
think I
and,
am
you know,
subscribed.
It feels like
to
I
Leap
am
anymore.
with rebuilding the UFC. It's almost identical, except so much faster. And in less than 2 years, that company is ahead of where the UFC was in 10 years.
Why?
So it's been fun. The thing did 2.9 million views last night. Obviously, it was super successful.
you sure? I don't think I'm watching
inside
Leap,
the
bro.
arena. And I'm excited to go to Saudi, and we're about to announce a couple of new big deals with Power Slap in the next month.
What
or
is
so.
going on in the Korea?
Vinny Pazienza
There's a
was
the dude
announced
tried to
as
have a
the
coup.
2024 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. We know that you inducted him here in the Nevada.
The fuck,
Boxing
the guy
Hall of
literally tried to
Fame.
have a coup.
How
What is up,
important
Cool
was it to
Breeze?
finally get
No, I
him
don't think
recognized
I'm,
in the National Hall?
I love that guy, and I'm really happy for him. I know it was very important to him. He wanted to be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame before he
my
passes
D
away.
memberships.
So
It
he's
expired
ecstatic.
on
I'm
the
really happy
3rd.
for him, and it couldn't happen to a better dude. I love Vinny.
Dana, to your right.
Thank
over
you.
Here.
Yep.
You know what? You've always
A
had a
coup.
relationship with Saki Gabara, obviously.
Mhm.
Well,
You know, putting this fight together.
all right,
was
yeah,
a big deal
take it
with
easy.
him.
Shit, good
I'm
to see you, man.
curious, Is there any possibility now?
Sorry about all the
of
weird shit
other
today.
Possible champions from there.
Um,
UFC you've been talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would.
okay.
We did it tonight.
Okay, listen. Natua. The leader of Korea, okay, he declared martial law. Okay. And the reason that he stated he declared martial law was because there was some people from the other side of his political views. This is what he said. He said, the reason we declared a state of martial law is because the opposition party is trying to like do some shit that I don't like, right? So everyone's like, oh shit, martial law, crazy. And then like, because Korea is like a democracy, like all the rest of the branches of government were like had like a session really quick and we're like, nah, fuck that. And then now he's going to be impeached.
He had a good performance. I would love to do it. And obviously,
Is it over yet?
where there's a couple down in Brazil. There's some over in Poland. There's one now starting in South. And the list goes on and on. So yeah, listen, it's no different than the UFC. You know, when we all started, like we were just talking about
Power
Pride
Slap.
in Japan. You know, we first bought the UFC. There were several organizations, and then they all started popping up left and right after,
Yeah, I
after
got
we
you,
got
bro.
involved.
No worries.
And it's never a bad thing for the sport. It's always a good thing.
A-Tank, MMA, and geopolitics.
The World MMA Awards, Power Slap, FPI, and now UFC 310 tonight. What a hectic week. You just talk about, the behind the scenes of your week.
No, it was a cool week, man. Fighters only.
Ugh.
I commend them for doing that award show. I know that isn't cheap. It's not easy. He lives in England, and it's a good night for the people who are involved in the sport. So I'm a big supporter of it.
Kimchi price is going to go up?
I always will be. It was a fun weekend.
No,
Yep.
because I
I
think
know you
that
mentioned you can't go to South Korea anymore for the Korean Zombies show, but Dorobshuk Nabokov, the guy who asked you for a contract at the press conference,
Yeah.
he's actually on that card. He's fighting Matheus Camilo.
So what I just said to him is, we're figuring. I'm actually going to looking for
Yeah,
a fight.
stole it
We're
from
going to
me.
do it via satellite from Florida next weekend.
All right. Well,
So-
I think we're done with cue ball. That was cue ball, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting that he was asked about Connor, and he's like, "If I would have had something to say about it, I would have said something about it." It's like, all right. They're like, "Is he gonna fight again?" He's like, "Maybe." Even worse, his party decided to block the impeachment by not showing up for the vote. They insist this to stay in power after saying they wanted him gone. Yeah. Cool Breeze knows a lot more about geopolitics than me. Okay. Dana White has spoken. He said that Pantoja, Kennedy, and Chase Hooper got performance bonuses. Big L, rest in peace. Okay. Anyway, where were we? Yeah. Nate Landwehr got destroyed. Good for Doo Ho Choi. He looked good. Dominic Reyes knocks out Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith looked okay for a round, like I said he would. And then he got knocked out in the second round, just exactly how I said it would happen. Anthony Smith hangs it up. Good for him. It's about time. Vicente Luque just fucking cleans up on Themba real quick. Hurts him. Gets an anaconda choke, not a darce. The difference between an anaconda and a darce is a darce, you're using the forearm to choke somebody, and an anaconda is the bicep. Learned that today. Vicente Luque looks good, bounces back, gets a quick sub. Movsar Evloev just beats the shit out of Aljo. Aljo won the first round. Next two rounds, fucking clean and clear for Movsar. He just whoops up on Aljo. I don't think that'll get him a title shot, unfortunately, but hey, that's all right. Brian Battle gets a decision win over one Mr. Randy Brown. Close fight. He looked pretty bad. Chris Weidman gets knocked out by Eric Anders. And I already knew this would happen because Chris Weidman is washed. And he hangs it up too. Cody Durden had a really good fight with Joshua Van. They went to decision. Good win for Van. Michael Chiesa subs Max Griffin in the third round. Fight was terrible. Trash fucking fight. I picked Max Griffin to win. Good win for Michael Chiesa, Spokane, Washington. Pretty close to me, but overall sucked. Clay Guida gets armbarred by Chase Hooper in a round. People saying Chase Hooper's a phenom. This guy's not a phenom. He beat a 40-year-old, but looked really good in this fight. Clay Guida hangs him up, and Kennedy Nzechukwu knocks out Lucas Bresky in a fight where he looked terrible and just ended up getting a knockout. Okay, those are your results. All right, guys. I will drop a link. And whoever would like to join, besides Hank, can join. Otherwise, we're going to close this up. I'm going to get some sleep. And if you have anything you would like to talk about in the wide world of MMA and beyond, feel free to comment it. If you don't want to hop in, we'll leave the stream open for a little while longer. But yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to do. We talk more about consolidation of power in Korea. Isha's going to do deep here very soon. I'm sure that'll be just a grand old time. I would watch deep, but there's no way to fucking watch it for free. So somebody can screen share it on Discord. I'll be in there. Fight Companion got over 600 views. Wow, that's awesome, man. Sick. If we don't crash out, we might even get more views. Who's this guy yelling and screaming? Way too many fights in one day. Oh, God. Yeah, what? And Valdez and Navarrete fought today. Rico Verhoeven fought today. There was a whole glory card today. Whole other boxing card. One was last night. Been a long ass weekend, Cool Breeze. You ain't lying, man. You ain't fucking lying. Oh, a lot of shit went down. It'll all be recapped in depth tomorrow on our fantastic show we do every Sunday. Which, by the way, you should tune into. Like, subscribe. I'm gonna break down all the fights, how we did on Tapology. 2 and 3 is what we got. Hank the Tank sneakily, Vietnamesely stole it from me out from under my nose with that round 2 sub from Pantoja. Good call on his part. Yeah, man. Pretty good weekend of fights overall. Skate got knocked the fuck out. That's me, buddy. Yeah, it literally was like 5 points. If I would have just fucking went with Chiesa instead of fading him because he lives in Spokane. Whack cart. You know what, AJ? I kind of agree with you. BKFC was just outside Atlanta. I thought about going, but I wouldn't. I like the crowd. Yeah, if you get good seats, man, it doesn't even matter. If you get floor seats, people are going to be douchebags. What's the crowd like? The crowd at BKFC Salt Lake City was a bunch of douchebags. But if you get like seats up in the rows, they're cheap. No one's going to fucking bother you. You'll be chilling. Give me like 6 months. Give me like 6 months. We'll go to an event, man. But you got to get my number. You got to get my number from Jay. Hit up Jay from Rush Hour. Get my number. Think of a Street Beefs crowd. I guess I'm gonna have to go back and watch the Cyril Gahn fight. Was it like a good fight at least? You know, I was kind of watching something else actually. One of my favorite YouTubers like dropped a new video in a series and I had to watch it. But it was Gahn blows. It had one good round. So Gahn ain't that dude, huh? He's gonna get smoked by Tom Aspinall. Well, I mean, tell me what your favorite fight of the card was, what your favorite fight of the weekend was. I got a link to join up there. If not, I'll probably head out here in like a couple more minutes. Aspinall's crushing him. I think Aspinall beats everybody. Except for Francis. I think that Francis is the only fight that I'm like, I don't know if I don't know if Aspinall beats Francis. The second BKFC knockout was awesome though. He's gonna get liquidated. Damn. Favorite fight, either Van versus Durden or Shavkat versus Gary. You like Shavkat versus Gary? That fight sucked ass. Anyway. All right, guys. I'm fucking tired. I'm going to bed. Shavkat blows too. I fucking love AJ, dude. I love this man. Hey AJ, man, we're still going to Japan, right? End of the year, next year. Ryzen. Shavkat versus Gary built up to be a great fight. Yeah. It wasn't though. It was like interesting. It was like a technical chess match, but that fight was not good. All right, bet. All right, guys. I'm out. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Good night. See you on the other side. Tomorrow, Skate Take MMA preview or full recap of the weekend. Fuck yeah, we're going to Japan. All right, New Year's Eve next year for Ryzen. You have to escape the war zone for now. Exactly. Peace.